Hello! So I have literally just this minute put my top 5 musical songs into Encore Radio, which, if you may remember, I did last year, and I ended up getting an email saying, would you like to come on air and discuss your top 5 musical songs? Which terrified me, and I had to go record it in my car, like in the middle of my working day, say, hi, I'm Amy and I've chosen this, that and the other song, and a little bit around why. And I didn't get to say a lot about why. I had literally like 8 seconds or something for about 3 of the songs to say, I really like this song because dot dot dot. So I've put some different songs in this year because I thought there's no point in putting the same songs in again. Yeah, it's a bit boring. I mean, obviously, the song that I chose as number 1 and number 2, number 3, and so on last year, I still really, really love. I mean, I had Anthem from Chess in there, and Masquerade, and Who Am I, and Step 1 from Kinky Boots, and Fight the Fight from Here to Eternity, which I love. I love all of them, and some of them are like criminally underplayed and under-remembered. I don't think that's a proper phrase. But yeah, people just don't really listen to them very much, or you don't hear them very often. Especially like From Here to Eternity, which, let's face it, didn't last over long and didn't really set the world on fire. But some of the music from it was absolutely immense. You can't go wrong with a bit of Tim Rice. So yeah, I put all of those ones on last year, and I wanted to do some different ones this year and talk about some different songs. And, you know, the order that I would rank some songs and some musicals has slightly changed because I've seen new stuff. So that's obviously always going to play a bit of a role in terms of where I would put kind of my head around different musicals and songs and performers and such like. Yeah, so I chose 5 brand new songs. Well, not like brand new like in the new musicals, but some of them are. Brand new as in like not off last year's list. And I couldn't really think of an order, so they are in no particular order. So yeah, please don't ring me again because they'll ask me to rank them and I just can't. They're just 5 songs that I really, really love. And I've listened to a lot over like the last sort of year since I did the last list. Yeah, some slight newbies and a couple of like wild cards on there. So I'm going to start with, I guess, number 5, like if you want to call it number 5. And it's technically speaking not really a musical song, although it is in a musical. It's My Life from Anne Juliet, which I saw, when did I see that? November. I saw it literally 3 days or whatever after press night. Imagine if I'd have accidentally gone on press night and I could have been sat next to like Jessie J and Lance Bass from NSYNC, which, let's be fair, Lance Bass would be the headline there for me, boy band star. But yeah, It's My Life from Anne Juliet. Now, Anne Juliet is like the story of Romeo and Juliet, but if Anne Hathaway had got to Shakespeare first and gone, mate, that's depressing, Juliet needs to get a life and not die and go out and have amazing adventures and basically just live her best life. And then Shakespeare goes, I know, I like a bit of conflict. Let's bring a Romeo back to life as well. And It's My Life is Romeo's like entrance just before the interval. Jordan Luke Gage, right? I love the fella. I saw him as the first cover in Battle of Hell, which I've spoken about extensively, so I will not bore you with that again. But yeah, I wrote to him and he put like Instagram stories from his dressing room, and next to his mirror before he went on stage he had like a big J for Jordan, he had a picture of his family, and he had my fan mail letter, which I recognise because I'm a genius and send headed notepaper. So it said Amy on it, and I was like, that's me. Big soft spot for Jordan, and I got to meet him after Anne Juliet, and he was so soft spoken and so lovely. It was like kind of unexpected because he just belted It's My Life and a load of other big songs, and I'd heard him do Bat Out of Hell and like big songs like that, and he was just like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. Blew my head. But anyway, It's My Life. I love It's My Life because Romeo no word of a lie, descends from the ceiling on like a big bannery type thing of his own name. He's just like on the top riding it like Romeo. And I love him. I absolutely love him. He's so like a puppy dog, so enthusiastic, so childlike, and so like, oh my god, everything's amazing. And yeah, It's My Life is great because you get a bit of Shakespeare singing, you get a bit of Juliet singing and Anne Hathaway singing, and it kind of just finishes the first act in a really like, this is the tone of the whole musical. It's funny, it's cheeky, it's tongue in cheek, it's like, we all know Romeo's a bit of like crazy, and a bit of a lad, and it just kind of encapsulates that really well. I nearly said encapsulate. Proper little Shakespeare reference there, accidentally. But yeah, I love It's My Life, and I loved & Juliet, and seriously thinking about going to go see it again on West End Live weekend. I'm trying to put together an itinerary for that night now, and it's absolutely a nightmare, to be honest. Because Luke McCall has changed the day that he plays Jean Valjean, and I'm like, I love John Robbins, but I really love Luke McCall. So yeah, throwing me into slight disarray there. But anywho, that's a problem for another day, or possibly later today. On to number 4. Number 4 is the Deadwood Stage from Calamity Jane, and they did like a tribute to Doris Day at last year's John Wilson Orchestra proms. He always does like the musicals and stuff like that. Sometimes he does a show, sometimes he does like a collection of songs with a theme. And this year, I think he did like musicals of, I can't remember if it was MGM or something like that. And Louise Damon came out and did a tribute to Doris Day because she passed away earlier in the year. And they did Secret Love and I think they did Secret Love, but they did Deadwood Stage, which was unexpected, and I really, really love the Deadwood Stage. It's one of the best opening numbers of like musicals of that era, and it kicks off where you can immediately tell what a time Doris Day is having. She's like jumping about on top of a stagecoach and shooting things and hanging upside down and you know, thigh slapping and giving it some real beans. And if you can get through that without having a big grin on your face, and she goes on and introduces you the characters like Bill and Henry Miller, who owns the Golden Garter, and she does it in a really kind of cheeky way, sliding across the bar and jumping around and just generally having a whale of a time. And it makes me grin every time I see that. Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. So that was my number 4 choice, just because it reminds me of watching the film as a kid. And I used to watch it quite a lot. Like, Annie and Calamity Jane were probably 2 of my go-to musical choices. And yeah, I can do pretty much all of Calamity Jane by heart, and all of Annie, and all of The Slipper and the Rose, which is long, so that's impressive. But yeah, I remember sitting there watching it as a kid, just being like really enthralled by Doris Day as Calamity Jane, and it's one of the films that is one of my favourite musical films as an adult, partly for nostalgia reasons and partly because it's just immense, and you can just tell the level of joy that was going on in that film and kind of the chemistry between Doris Day and Howard Keel. But yeah, when she introduces him and he just like picks her up like a sack of spuds, and they're kind of like giving each other a little sly glance of, oh, that like really matey relationship. I really enjoyed that. So Deadwood Stage is on there. And I'll be singing that all day now because it's really catchy. So I kind of wish I hadn't mentioned it, but there we go. Number 3 is Hey Boss from 9 to 5. Now, Hey Boss isn't on the American Broadway soundtrack, so I don't know if it was written later or added in for the West End, but either way, I absolutely love it. And Hey Boss kind of takes place when Dora Lee and Judy and Violet go up onto the roof and they're like smoking pot together and stuff. In 9 to 5, the film, they go around, I think go around to Dora Lee's house, I can't quite remember, and basically like, you know, get like off the face. But they do it on the roof at their work in the musical. And there's a big billboard of Franklin Hart Jr., who I seen played by Brian Connolly and makes me actually weep laughing. And they basically use the opportunity to tell him off. They're like, "Oh, hey boss, you're mean and you cut me any slack. I'm smart and you don't treat me like that. You're scared of women." And they basically like give him a right going over to the billboard. It starts off with Judy singing, she does a verse and sings the chorus, then Violet joins in and sings the chorus together, and then Dora Lee comes in last, and then they all have a big chorus together. But it features like one of my favourite lines in 9 to 5, musically anyway, where they're like, "Oh, in the words of Aretha, give us some RESPECT." And yeah, I don't know why that. It's just got a real rhythm to it, and I really love it. It makes me do that, apparently. Like David Brent, don't know what happened there. Them's my moves. But I really love Hey Boss. I think everybody has had somebody that they would like to sing that song to, whether it be because somebody's treating them wrong, or whether they're working hard for no recognition, or whether they're underestimated because they're a woman or different, or and not the like one of the boys. I think everybody can relate to that in some way, and that's why I think it's a really great addition to the West End soundtrack of 9 to 5. It really gets me, and I walk around the house like, in the words of Aretha, and yeah, I really, really love that. And also, Natalie McQueen as Dora Lee Rhodes is perfect, so having her sing it on the soundtrack, which obviously they got no issues playing her, but I really like hearing that voice because it just reminds me of all her entire performance. So, yeah, Hey Boss. Hey Boss. Love it. That's my best Dolly Parton impression, incidentally. It's also my worst, but there we go. Number 2 is I Say No from Heathers, which I have not actually seen Heathers. I saw them at West End Live a couple of years ago, and I don't think they did I Say No, that I can remember anyway. They did Candy Store and Shine a Light, but I don't know what else they did off the top of my head. But I Say No is brilliant because it's Carrie Hope Fletcher, who incidentally she's in my scrapbook now, and when I get a few more replies I'll do another update on the scrapbook because I've had some pretty decent entries actually since then. She is one of them. Lovely reply. Lovely. I lost my train of thought. I'm thinking about the scrapbook now. Oh, I Say No. Basically, Carrie played Veronica, who, with JD, goes around knocking off the Heathers, essentially. And this is her kind of saying, "No, I've had enough. No, I'm not doing this anymore. You're sick, and I can't help you, and I'm certainly not going to help you do this anymore." And this is her standing up for herself for, like, pretty much the first time. She's very much conflicted up to now, and this is her really making a decision and saying, "JD, you are in the wrong. I'm not afraid to tell you that I am feeling that way." And I really enjoy that song for that. It also features some really, really good lyrics. Like, there's one bit where she's like, "I'm not Bonnie, you're not Clyde." Like, as if, don't romanticise this. We are not some kind of, like, really cool would-be highwaymen. We're not, like, a gangster in his mall. We're just weird kids, okay? We need to knock this on the head. There's also a bit in the middle of the song where he's like, "But I love you." And she just goes, "Dude." Like, which is the only acceptable response, I feel. It's almost as iconic as Han Solo saying, "I know." It's got that very much the same energy, and I like that it comes from Veronica because it's just I will not be influenced by this anymore. You can tell me you love me, I do not care. So yeah, I Say No is definitely in there. Really, really like that song. They've played it a lot on Encore Radio lately, and it gets stuck in my head every single time. Every time it starts, I have to sing along. It's quite a big song, and I really can't sing, so I kind of feel for the neighbours a little bit. Sorry guys. It's tough. Do you know what I mean? I have to listen to them sometimes. It's only fair. To be fair, they sing Annie, so I'm kind of very much in the same boat. I can't feel like they begrudge me it, to be honest. The Other Way sings Mamma Mia, so we are in, like, some kind of weird musical theatre street right here. But yeah, I feel like I've gone slightly more dark musicals. I'm alright with that though. I'm alright with that. But in at number one, and this is a weird choice because it's not even necessarily just the song. It's more about the whole experience that I had while I was watching this show. And the number one choice is Step in Time from Mary Poppins. And I really, 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 really want them to release like a new soundtrack with Ziggy Stradlin and Charlie Stemp, because Charlie Stemp as Bert was perfection. I remember reading that casting ages ago, like ages and ages ago. I'm talking like probably about a year ago as now, and thinking to myself, this is gonna be good. Like whoever has cast this, fair play to you. You have got your head screwed on. I remember thinking, Charlie as Bert, I'm looking forward to that. I feel like he'd be good. And I went in with high expectations, and I was so afraid that he wasn't going to live up to it. Like, because I thought, oh, what if I've built this up and now actually he's just good? And I've been like, oh my god, it's going to be amazing. But he was even better than amazing. He was truly, like, incredible. Really incredible. I mean, Ziggy Stradlin was incredible, but Charlie Stemp, I love him. I absolutely love him. He's perfect for this kind of role. And Step in Time is on the list because it just took my breath away. Like, it started with the silhouettes of the chimney sweeps on chimney pots, I guess, like silhouetted over London, and it just looked stunning. And there was so many chimney sweeps on stage, like dancing, like singing all the songs that you know. And then, no word of a lie, Charlie Stemp climbed the stage and hung upside down. And I remember, like, the woman next to me, like, I've never seen this one before since, obviously, and we both just, like, looked at each other and went, he's not. Like, when he started walking up, and then he got to, like, the top, and I was like, oh, no, he's not. He did, right? And then he hung upside down in the middle of the stage, like, step in time. It was brilliant. So it reminds me of that kind of moment of just, wow. There's so much tricks and stuff that I'd done before that, but that was the moment when I was like, this is something else. This is really something special. And, there was bits that I'm not even going to talk about because I'll get all like, again, like when Mary Poppins flew over our heads and I just cried buckets. Yeah, there was stuff like that going on, but honest to God, this song blew me away. So yeah, I put that as my number one choice, just because I've never had an experience in the theatre like seeing Mary Poppins. I've never rolled my eyes out like that, apart from like Les Mis, but that's for a different reason. I've never gasped so much. I've never sat there with my mouth hanging open. I've never like laughed my head off at stuff. It was just everything you would want it to be, and that's why I've chosen a song from it, because it's more about the whole experience of seeing this number performed and seeing this show. Sometimes you see a show and the numbers are good, but they don't kind of land in that way where you're thinking about it like again and again and again. Whereas Mary Poppins, I feel like I was thinking about it constantly after it had happened. And sometimes you get like the odd number in a show where you get a really good song, but the show's like alright. I mean, prime example actually is Charlie again. Pick Out Simple Tune from Half a Sixpence. Half a Sixpence is a good show, but Pick Out Simple Tune, perfect. You watch it on like YouTube when it was on Sunday night at the Palladium or whatever it was, and tell me it's not just immense. I went to go see that show because I saw it on Sunday night at the Palladium. Whereas Step in Time is an amazing song, an amazing performance in an amazing show, so that's why I wanted it in there, just because it really, really hit. Really hit. And I'm thinking about seeing Mary Poppins again as well on Western Live weekend, and I'm like, it's going to be a really expensive holiday. So yeah, I might sit and work on the itinerary for that in a bit. Kind of don't know what to do. Really don't know what to do. There's Mary Poppins I want to see, Les Mis I want to see, and Juliet I want to see. But then I'm like, I've done all of those. Maybe I should do something different. But then I don't really know what, because I don't want to see something that I'm like, yeah, that's just alright, when I know that I love those three. I mean, I need to see Les Mis on a Thursday for Luke. So that extends my holiday. This is too complicated. I need some kind of like itinerary manager. If anyone wants to be my personal assistant, that does it. I'm putting out an advert right now. It's unpaid, but you know what? If you want to sign up, send me a message and we'll work on another top 5 for next year together. Sounds like a good deal, right?